Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. There's a quiet revolution happening on factory floors, and it's not in Silicon Valley, not in Detroit, not even in Tokyo. It's happening in China. Right now, there are more robots working in Chinese factories than in the rest of the world combined. And the pace at which Beijing is installing these machines is nothing short of staggering. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of new robots every single year, building cars, welding parts, hauling loads, and quietly changing the balance of global manufacturing power. Let's start with the numbers, because they're jaw-dropping. According to the International Federation of Robotics, China now operates over 2 million factory robots. That's more than the United States, Japan, Germany, South Korea, and Britain combined. In 2024 alone, Chinese factories installed nearly 300,000 new robots. Just to compare, American factories added only 34,000 that same year. Japan installed 44,000, and India, a rising player, put in about 9,100. That means China is installing robots at a rate that eclipses entire continents. And if you zoom out, the story gets even bigger. Since 2017, Chinese factories have installed more than 150,000 robots every year without slowing down. Their entire robot workforce doubled between 2021 and 2024, going from just over 1 million units to more than 2 million in operation today. That's 54% of all global deployments in a single year. In other words, China is not just leading this race, it's running laps around the competition. But here's where it gets even more interesting. China isn't just using more robots, it's also getting better at making them. In 2024, for the first time ever, more robots installed in Chinese factories were domestically made than imported. Nearly 3/5 of all new robots were manufactured right inside China. That's a massive shift in the global supply chain. Just a year earlier, foreign players like Japan still dominated the market. Now China's domestic market share jumped from 47% to 57% in a single year. That transformation didn't happen by accident. It's the direct result of a state-backed strategy that's been running for nearly a decade. Back in 2015, Beijing rolled out its Made in China 2025 campaign, a sweeping plan to reduce dependence on imported advanced goods and elevate China's global tech leadership. Robotics was explicitly named a priority. The government poured in subsidies, low-interest loans, direct funding, even encouraged local companies to buy out foreign competitors. And in 2021, it doubled down with a detailed national strategy for robot deployment. The results? Crystal clear. Without a strategy, a country is always at a disadvantage. You can see how well that strategy worked out. In less than a decade, China overtook Japan as the world's largest robot manufacturer. By 2024, China controlled a third of the global supply of robots. Japan dropped to 29%, down from 38% the year before. Quick reminder, if you're finding this breakdown valuable, hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps keep deep dives like this coming your way. Now let's look at the types of robots driving this boom. It's not just humanoids or futuristic prototypes. Most are industrial workhorses, machines welding car frames, robotic claws lifting boxes, automated carts hauling parts across factory floors. At Zeekr's Autoplant in Ningbo, fleets of robotic carts carry heavy loads along assembly lines, keeping production humming day and night. These aren't gimmicks, they're the backbone of a manufacturing system that already makes a third of all manufactured goods worldwide. That's right, by early 2025, Chinese factories were producing nearly a third of everything the world consumes. And here's the kicker. China's AI industry is deeply integrated into this robotics push. While many countries see AI as a consumer tool, chatbots, apps, search assistants, China is using AI inside factories. Algorithms are constantly monitoring performance, predicting when machines need maintenance, and optimizing productivity. Companies in China are using AI to swoop in and say which machines are doing great and which are a little off. Outside of China, people aren't looking at it as a manufacturing tool, at least not yet, and not how the Chinese are. That combination, massive robot deployment plus AI optimization, is giving China a staggering efficiency advantage. And it's not slowing down. Analysts say there's room for 10% annual growth in Chinese manufacturing automation all the way to 2028. If that happens, by the end of the decade, we could see China not just dominating today's numbers, but pulling even further ahead, setting new records year after year. Now let's talk workforce. A lot of people assume more robots mean fewer jobs, but the reality in China is more complex. Yes, some roles have been automated, but demand has skyrocketed for skilled specialists, electricians, engineers, programmers who can install and maintain these machines. Even with China's huge labor pool, there have been shortages of installation experts, pushing salaries up to almost $60,000 a year. That's a hefty paycheck by Chinese industrial standards. So instead of eliminating jobs entirely, automation is shifting the labor market toward higher skill, higher paying roles. Midway reminder here, if you're into these kinds of deep dive reports on AI, automation, and global tech shifts, make sure you're subscribed. I drop new breakdowns frequently, and you won't want to miss what's coming. But back to the story, China isn't stopping at industrial robots. The country is also pushing aggressively into humanoid robotics. Startups like Unitree Robotics, based in Hangzhou, are developing humanoid machines priced at just $6,000. To put that in perspective, Boston Dynamics, the American leader, sells comparable robots for multiples of that cost. Unitree's latest humanoids can fistfight, perform cartwheels, and handle advanced locomotion. They're not perfect, and China still lags in producing some high-end components like sensors and semiconductors. As Lianji Su from Omdia pointed out, if you assembled a top-notch humanoid robot today, most of its critical parts would still come from places like Germany or Japan. But China is catching up fast, and the ecosystem is booming. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is losing ground. Robot installations actually fell in Japan, the US, South Korea, and Germany last year. Japan managed 44,000 new robots. Respectable, but a far cry from China's 300,000. The US, again, only 34,000. India, 9,100. And let's be honest, those numbers don't even come close to the scale Beijing is playing at. Why does all of this matter? Because robotics and AI aren't just about making factories faster. They're about controlling the global flow of manufactured goods. Whoever leads in automation leads in efficiency, productivity, and cost. And right now, China has put itself years, maybe decades, ahead. Even the International Federation's data shows how dramatic this shift has become. In less than 3 years, China doubled its robot workforce. Its share of the global robot manufacturing market climbed from a quarter to a third in just 1 year. And the government shows no sign of slowing down. State subsidies, cheap loans, industrial strategies, all of it points in one direction: total dominance of robotics. And the implications? They're massive. Countries like the US, Germany, Japan, and South Korea, once leaders in factory automation, are now falling behind. Global supply chains are being reshaped, manufacturing roles are evolving. And in the middle of it all, China is both the biggest user and the biggest supplier of the machines that are literally building the future. So here's where things stand. Over 2 million robots, nearly 300,000 new ones every year, 5 times as many robots as the United States, a third of global manufacturing output, and a government-backed strategy that combines robotics with AI, industrial policy, and raw scale. China isn't just participating in the robot race, it's winning it by a landslide. And that leaves us with the big question. If China already has more robots than the rest of the world combined, what does that mean for the next decade of global manufacturing? Will anyone even be able to catch up, or has the future of industrial power already been decided? As robotics and AI evolve, tomorrow's factories could be powered by self-learning machines and seamless human-robot teamwork, reshaping industries, jobs, and even global competition. What breakthrough do you think will define the next decade? Drop your predictions in the comments. That's where we'll leave it for today. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into the forces shaping our technological future. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.